Before Twitter beef, before rap battles, before your uncle's Facebook comments. Humans have been absolutely destroying each other with words for thousands of years. And some of it was so good, we wrote it down. On purpose. Some of it was even a sport, with rules, judges, and, in at least one case, the loser could legally end up dead. This is the history of trash talk. Try not to take notes. Our story starts over 3,000 years ago, in Ramesside, Egypt, with what might be the oldest surviving diss track on record. A scribe named Hori writes a letter to a colleague, Amenemope, and it looks polite enough on the surface. It is not polite. Hori systematically dismantles Amenemope professionally, mocking his math, his geography, his complete inability to calculate how many bricks it takes to build a ramp, or how to feed an army on the march. Every paragraph is a new way of saying, you are bad at your job and everyone knows it. And here's the brutal part. This letter didn't just get written and forgotten. It became a training document. For generations, Egyptian scribe students copied out Hori's takedown of Amenemope as a writing exercise. Somewhere in the ancient world, some poor kid named Amenemope got publicly ratioed so hard that school children were still studying the burn 1,000 years later. Picture the most powerful man in the known world, Alexander the Great, conqueror of Persia, future ruler of basically everywhere, rolls into Corinth with his entire army entourage to go meet a famous philosopher. He finds the guy sunbathing in the street, literally living in a barrel by most accounts, because he'd rejected material possessions entirely. Alexander, probably expecting a little groveling, announces, "I am Alexander the Great King." The philosopher, a man named Diogenes, founder of an entire school of thought built on being deliberately, aggressively unimpressed by everyone, doesn't get up, doesn't bow, just says, "I am Diogenes the dog." Alexander, to his credit, asks if there's anything he can do for him. Anything at all. Diogenes thinks about it and says, "Yes. Stand a little out of my sun. You're blocking my light. Move." Alexander was apparently so stunned by the sheer nerve of it that he told his officers, "If I were not Alexander, I would wish to be Diogenes." The most powerful man alive got out-alphaed by a guy living in a barrel, and he respected it. That's the platinum standard of trash talk, the kind that impresses the person you're insulting. Fast forward a few centuries to Pompeii, a normal Roman city that got buried in volcanic ash in 79 AD, and, in the process, accidentally preserved humanity's most honest time capsule. It's graffiti. Over 11,000 pieces of it, scratched into walls all over the city. And Romans did not hold back. Someone wrote about a bald guy at the basilica. Just, "Epaphra, you are bald." No context, no beef explained, just a public call-out of a man's hairline for eternity. Someone else wished actual physical pain on a man named Chie. "I hope your hemorrhoids rub together so much they hurt worse than they ever have before." That's not an insult. That's a curse, with excellent specificity. There was even a running feud between two weavers, Successus and Severus, both chasing the same barmaid, who traded insults about each other on the walls, like it was the comment section of history's oldest situationship drama. And in a twist that proves nothing has changed, in 2,000 years, one exhausted Pompeian scratched onto a wall. "Oh walls, you have held up so much tedious graffiti that I'm amazed you haven't collapsed already." Ancient Rome invented complaining about the comments. The Vikings turned insults into an actual competitive event. It was called Flyting, in Old Norse, Senna, and it happened in the feasting hall, in front of everyone, in verse. Two men would stand up and trade increasingly brutal, increasingly clever insults back and forth, and the crowd would decide the winner by their reaction. Lose, and you drank the loser's cup of shame in front of the whole hall. Win, and your status went up. But here's where it stops being funny. Flyting wasn't just entertainment, it was a legal pressure valve. Norse society took public shame extremely seriously, and a bad enough insult, one that stuck, one the crowd agreed was true, could actually damage a man's honor in a way that mattered for his legal standing. So if you lost badly enough, or the insult was serious enough, you could challenge your opponent to a holmgang, a formal duel fought 3 to 7 days later that was completely legal under Norse law. First blood usually ended it. Sometimes it didn't stop there. So next time someone tells you insults don't hurt anybody, the Vikings would like to introduce you to the concept of settling a diss track with a sword. The tradition didn't die with the Vikings. It went full literary. Around 1500, at the royal court of King James IV of Scotland, two of the era's most celebrated poets, William Dunbar and Walter Kennedy, staged what might be the most elaborate insult battle ever written down. It's called the Flyting of Dunbar and Kennedy, and it was performed live, in verse, in front of the king. These weren't playground insults. Dunbar and Kennedy accused each other of treason, heresy, and theft, the kind of charges that could get a real person executed, all wrapped in dense, inventive, deliberately filthy poetry. Historians note it contains the earliest known written use of a certain four-letter word as a personal insult in the English language, in front of the king, on purpose, as entertainment. And it worked. The poem was so popular, it got copied into anthologies for the next 200 years. Imagine a diss track so good, it's still being taught 4 centuries later, except at the time, it also doubled as a treason accusation against your rival poet. Not every ancient insult was written for laughs. In 1565, a Ming Dynasty official named Hori did something almost nobody in imperial China dared to do. He wrote a formal memorial directly insulting the emperor. Not a rival, not a colleague. The actual Emperor Jia Jing, accusing him in writing of being obsessively superstitious, chasing immortality potions instead of running the country, and letting corrupt officials bleed the empire dry while he did nothing. Insulting the emperor to his face was, quite literally, a capital offense. And according to popular tradition, though historians treat this detail as likely legend rather than confirmed fact, Hori knew it. So before he submitted the memorial, he said goodbye to his family and bought his own coffin. He fully expected to be executed by the end of the day. Instead, the emperor reportedly flew into a rage, threw the memorial across the room, and then, stunned by the sheer audacity of a man willing to die for a paragraph, spared his life. Somewhere between Diogenes and now, commit fully to the burn became an actual survival strategy. Which brings us to the man who took every tradition before him, the classical wit of Diogenes, the crude specificity of Pompeii, the performative brutality of Flyting, and turned it into an art form for the stage. William Shakespeare did not write insults, he built weapons out of language. In King Lear, thou art a boil, a plague sore, an embossed carbuncle in my corrupted blood. In Henry IV, thou clay-brained guts, thou naughty-pated fool, thou whoreson obscene greasy tallow catch. There's a full character takedown in Lear that runs an entire paragraph without repeating an insult once. Beggar, coward, pander, son and heir of a mongrel bitch. Practically a legal indictment. The difference is, Shakespeare wasn't settling real beef. He was industrializing it, mass-producing the best trash talk in human history and selling tickets to watch it performed. Every roast battle, every rap diss track, every scripted TV villain's monologue owes him royalties he'll never collect. From a scribe roasting a coworker into a school textbook, to a philosopher in a barrel, to an official who bought his own coffin before insulting an emperor, humans have never needed social media to be devastatingly petty to each other. We just used to write it in verse, perform it for kings, or scratch it into volcanic rock so it would survive 2,000 years. So next time you see a savage reply online, just remember, somewhere, a Viking is rolling in his grave, unimpressed, because at least his trash talk came with the option of a sword fight.
Make sure to subscribe for more epic content. And click that bell icon too.